Monaco, Surfers Paradise and Long Beach are all famed waterside street courses, and this one here on the west coast of Florida is right up there with them. This is round 2 of the American Le Mans Series, the Acura Sports Car Challenge of St. Petersburg. Romain Dumas, not only the best in P2, the best in the entire field. Pole position in his Penske Porsche. Magnificent effort, and with more on that, here's Calvin Fish.
Following Acura's stunning victory at Sebring, the Penske Porsches certainly need to regroup, and they certainly have done that here at St. Petersburg. They've claimed the top 2 spots on the grid, and Ryan Briscoe, you had the pole until the final moments of qualifying as your teammate Romain Dumas who pipped you. But how important is it for you guys to beat Acura here today?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely need to turn things around from Sebring, and we've started off great. We've got 2 Penske cars in the front row and an Audi between us and the Acuras. So if we can keep it that way, it's going to be a great day for us.
Hello, I'm Romain Dumas. I am from ALMS in south of France.
Hi, I'm Timo Bernhard. I'm born in Hamburg, Germany. Alan McNish from Dumfries in Scotland.
I'm Dino Capello from Santo Stefano Belvo, Piemonte, Italy.
Hi, I'm Oliver Gavin from Yardley Hastings, England.
I'm Olivier Beretta from Monaco, Monte Carlo.
Hi, I'm Thomas Enge. I come from Liberec, Czech Republic.
Hi, I'm Tim Bergmeister from Germany.
First time on the streets of St. Petersburg, and the green flag flies. It's an all Penske front row, but look at Manish. There's been contact.
I told you that was going to happen. I knew McNish would have the V10 power, the diesel, and it was been contact. There's going to be more right here.
Someone pushed their way right up the inside. That looked like Luis Diaz. It was either Diaz or David Brabham. Well, patience was the word we mentioned at the top of the show, and there was a lack of it. It was Marino Franchitti who pushed his way through. Now Dumas defends. Briscoe defends. They're coming from everywhere.
These Penske Porsche drivers are not going to be happy about being roughed up like that at the start. That was not a clean start by any imagination.
Well, Alan McNish showing the years of experience. He is the defending American Le Mans Series P1 champion. He's a Le Mans 24-hour winner, Sebring winner. He's been there, he's done it. He's been all the way to Formula One and back. On board with Marino Franchitti. Watch this for some forceful driving. Past Diaz, up alongside Briscoe.
Across the curb in the grass, takes that position, 2 of them.
And one more time on the main straight. Rear bodywork flies from Romain Dumas' car, and he is not happy. Flat right rear.
Right rear, that was the contact. Romain Dumas probably had a very slight cut.
There was a panels in the wall behind that. Sorry, Dorst, to butt in there.
There it is at 22. It's been to the tire barrier before.
Well, we've just heard a black flag to Alan McNish for jumping the start. Black flag to this car right here.
Romain Dumas comes in, and you have to wonder whether Alan McNish, when he made that dive between the wall and this pole-sitting car, may have made contact here. Trying to look, there is definitely damage underneath the rear fender. I'm not sure if that was from the tire that was flailing on the way in, but this team has got to regroup.
McNish on pit road to serve his drive-through, and Marino Franchitti inherits the lead of this race. McNish will be fuming. Problems for the race-leading car of Marino Franchitti. As we ride with him right now, Dorse.
Take a look at this wing. The element of the wing is at a distinct angle from the crash damage in turn 1 at the start. Now watch it. See it lift back up right there? That wing could fail, and if it fails on the one side where it's supported right there, the car can actually lift off the ground if it gets at the wrong angle. This is a very dangerous situation.
This will give us a better look. That's
there it is. There it is.
Whoa, whoa.
Now, as far as stability goes, I can tell you one thing. It is not stable because it's moving. It gets back to straight again, and then it goes sideways.
All problems for the Penske Porsches. The number 6 machine is in right now. Ryan Briscoe back underway. I'm not sure if he lost a lap there. There were some little covers on the inlets to the side pods that were taken apart for inspection, but right now the crew is trying to communicate as to what the problem was. Roger, not the start you were looking for here today. What was the problem with the 6 machine?
Well, we saw high oil and water temperature for some reason. Whether we picked something up in that accident at the beginning, we just couldn't take a chance to burn it up, so we'll see what happened. Everything looked okay.
Here's McNish, who we should tell you too is very hot under the collar after that ruling for jumping the start, and he is forcing his way back through the field. An angry Alan McNish behind the wheel of an Audi is not someone to fight with.
A Scotsman at that. You got to watch out. Alan McNish is very, very vocal on the radio when he is going to be someone to deal with. I would not block him. I would not do anything but let him by.
Back to the action at hand. Marino Franchitti has Alan McNish all over him, and look how easily that has happened. Wham. McNish, the new race leader. Some dramas while we're away in the commercial break for Ben Devlin in the BK Motorsports Mazda.
Well, there's the 45 you're right on board, and then the 16 is Butch Leitzner. And there goes Ben Devlin with a spin all to his own. No contact, but it did it right in front of the two boys.
Oh, well, this team experienced major throttle dramas at the 12 Hours of Sebring. They completely changed the structure of that, running with a fly-by-wire throttle system this weekend.
Well, it looks like fuel only. We see tires at the ready. Let's take a look. This will be a tough call for these guys. Strategy is going to play a key part to this. They want to maintain track position. The 7th car has just leapt around to maybe get one of their laps back. They obviously had problems earlier. They are going with tires, so McNish will have fresh rubber.
Robin Liddell in the leading GT2 car. The team waiting for the fuel to flow in. Seems to be taking quite a long time. The crew at the ready. As soon as the fuel is in, they will do the tires, but this seems to be taking a very long time, The 62 has been in and is gone.
Green flag flies on the runway here, and look at this inside move on Marino Franchitti. Wow, forcing the issue on the inside, and that was a great move. Was that Guy Smith, by the looks of it, who forced his way through? It was Butch Leitzinger. Great work from Butch. Forceful stuff on the restart, and Franchitti is being swallowed up everywhere. Here comes Marco Werner now.
Well, there's a strange call down here by the Andretti Green Racing team. I just spoke to Kim Green about why they didn't pit Marino Franchitti. A, because it was a good opportunity under caution to get some fuel in the car. Secondly, to look at that rear wing, he just said we had a communication error. That's why Marino's still on track.
I don't like the way Franchitti's car is moving around. I think he's really got aero problems.
Inside, oh!
And he spins it. Well, now he'll have to go to the pits, won't he?
Slight contact there between Ryan Briscoe and Marino Franchitti, but it was enough to send the XM satellite car into the tyre barrier. Now here's something you don't normally see. Some reliability issues with the Corvette. The number 3, Johnny O'Connell, just came to a stop out on the track. And while we watch Johnny get help back to pit road, Ryan Briscoe has received a drive-through penalty, stop and go.
Talk us through the incident with Ryan there towards the end here.
It's typical Ryan. My brother said he was brain dead, and he does stuff like that, and he never learns. You tell him and you tell him, and I give people their own chance. I left him a little bit of room in the inside, but no, he wasn't. You could see, I saw the replay while I was sitting there waiting to get towed. He didn't have, he hardly had a wheel on us.
1 hour, 42 minutes to go, and look at McNish bolt. He has gone. Audi 1 and 2. Overall and in the P1 class, it's McNish over Werner at the moment. Luis Diaz is running 3rd, and he is the top runner in the Prototype 2 class at the moment. There's Ryan Briscoe serving the stop-go penalty.
That's more than a stop and go. And a pair of Ferraris are leading GT2. You see the two of them right there.
And that is 2nd place, Tom Milner. Enger is in there trying to force his way through on young Tom. We showed you his highlight earlier, or should be a low light, we should say, earlier in the weekend when he slammed the wall, ripped the front left out of that car. Rahal Letterman team did a good job to get it repaired, but he has got a battle on his hands. It looks like Enger's got him in the Peterson White Lightning Ferrari. He certainly has. Well, during Cal's report there, you saw the Highcroft Racing Acura spin. This is what happened.
Steffo Johansson going to the inside here. Actually, the 20 is up the inside, and there's going to be contact.
A la Briscoe and Franchitti, Chris Dyson and Stefan Johansson.
Yeah, Chris Dyson. Now watch, well, you saw Johansson light the tires up, spin the car back around. He will now be mad, and we'll see if Chris Dyson gets a penalty, which I assume he will. Oh, look at this.
There is Chris.
There's Chris Dyson, who spun.
Now, they were fighting over 3rd in class when...
Oh, whoa, he almost backed into the GT2 car.
3rd full course caution.
When you can't make the car roll, then...
Alan, a brilliant opening stint there, but first of all, talk us through that initial start where you got the stop and go penalty for contact.
Well, first of all, I don't think it was anything to do with me in reality, because the two Porsches were there on the front line. You can't overtake until the start-finish. But the green went up, they accelerated and then lifted off, but they also closed in. I went to the right, and then he moved to defend, but I was already there. I don't know what I can do about it, but I've already made that commitment. They lift and play funny buggers at the start. It's nothing to do with me.
As we go back to green, and it's the Audis up front. Look at the traffic. Look at them working their way through.
Quick update down here in pit lane, Lee. There was a split strategy there under the last caution between the two Audi camps. The #1 team pitted, obviously. McNish jumped out. Marco Werner stayed out on track. That's why he currently has the lead. He will definitely need another stop here today. We believe the one car will need a splash at least to make it to the distance. So there's some good strategy, good racing going within that team. The 26 car just got back out on track. So the key now is to get those calculators out and see if that team gets the 70%, which is what you have to do to score points today, defend that championship lead for Brian Herter.
Let's talk GT2 for a while, Dorse. Great battle going on here. It's Ferrari 1 and 2. Thomas Enger has the upper hand over Mika Salo, less than a second out in front. And Tom Milner for Rahal Letterman Racing is sitting in third on the same lap. Great effort.
Look at Thomas Enger through here. He was the pole sitter. Of course, set a track record first time here, but a brilliant lap in the qualifying, and you can see right now he's quite quick on the racetrack as well.
And this is the lead car in P2, but it is not smooth sailing, as you can see in the top left of your screen. Black flag, Luis Diaz. He contacted car 20, Chris Dyson. It was deemed to be avoidable contact, and just when things were looking good for them, that is really going to hurt.
And to make it more complex yet, Luis Diaz started the race and has been in the entire time. We've been at 1 minute and 54 seconds. You can only drive 2 hours. They've asked for permission for this pit stop. Now this will be a pit stop to change drivers.
This is a problem here. One of the wheel guns went on. I'm not sure if the officials noticed, but the wheel gun went on before the refueling was done. That is a no-no, so they've got a penalty already to come for Luis Diaz for contact out on the racetrack, which has to be served after he's gone back out here. You can't serve that stop-and-go penalty during your service here, so they may have a double penalty here on what's going on. Meanwhile, the lead has changed up front. The #2 Audi has been in for what should be its final pit stop, and Manuel Pirro is now behind the wheel of that machine. Talking to Brad Kettler on the #1 fuel situation, he said we are on fuel economy mode. We're going to try and stretch it, see if Capello can get to the finish without the need for a splash. So really rolling the dice there with the #1 machine.
45 minutes left in this race, 2 hours down.
And this will just be a splash of fuel. They've looked at the calculations. They've looked at the gap that he has over the 2 machine. They've decided rather than rolling the dice, they're going to try and get some fuel in this car, and he's underway in about 8 seconds.
Just like clockwork.
Under our 4th full course caution, and this is the reason why. Yes, that's the Peterson White Lightning Ferrari 430 up against the wall. That is a big hit, Dorsey.
That is almost a straight on hit. And now look, the throttle is stuck completely wide open right now. Thomas Enger behind the wheel. Then the car, of course, catches fire. Dr. Greg Somerville going in the passenger side to get a hold of Mr. Enger to get him out of that car.
Guys, under that full course caution, some confusion on the part of the Highcroft team. They had been running well up in the order in P2. They came to pit lane. Stefan Johansson came to pit lane, but the team was not ready for him. Drove on through, and he's gone from 2nd overall, now back to 5th overall, 3rd in the P2 class. So a mistake for them. Guys, we talked about the 9 coming through pit lane and that being a miscue. Well, it gets worse than that. In the American Le Mans Series, you are forbidden to come to pit lane and drive through without stopping. So now that Johansson is back on track, he will have to serve a penalty when they go back to green. We haven't heard what that penalty is going to be yet. It could be anything from a stop and go to a 1-lap penalty assessed at the end of the event.
You may have noticed Andy Wallace dive for the pit road as they scramble for position. As soon as we went green, Dyson came back in.
Must be a problem with that car.
Brian.
Andy Wallace called in on the radio. He said he thinks he has a problem with the rear end, so they'll change tires. The crew's not sure if it might just be pickup, but they're looking right now. They're looking at the right rear, and the crew is saying, no, something is broken. So something moving on the right rear of this Porsche RS Spyder.
And that is really relieving.
Crew crawling in. Lee, it looks like it's a bolt out of, it's not broken. There's a bolt out of the upper wishbone on the right rear. It's just fallen out of it, and the right rear wishbone is loose in the back, the upper A-arm.
Well, I just saw Sasha Masson go down there into turn 1, boys, and he got in really, really deep, and Timo Bernhard had no option but to essentially get right alongside, and the team has been told, just bring it home, boys. Don't run into each other. And there you saw again, Sasha Masson seems to be struggling just that little bit.
Isn't this amazing? Sports car racing is just incredible on how it can turn the dramas that Penske had with these DHL Spiders earlier in the race, with Dumas being hit by McNish, and then the flat tire, and then Briscoe getting tangled up with Marino Franchitti, and here they are after all those dramas, 1, 2 in class, 3rd and 4th overall.
Anytime the 21,
Bill Auberlen.
Bill Auberlen is spun, you don't see that out of him often. Riding along here, I think he's going to get punted. Yep, there you go, little help. As I said, he doesn't do that very often. It's one of the tackle cars that hit him.
73, Dominic Farnbacher.
Here's the penalty on the 9.
Whoa.
Oh, no, one of the Dyson
Chris
cars.
Dyson.
That will bring out the 5th caution of the day. Oh, the 18 involved.
That's Tom Milner.
Milner with the right rear off that.
This is the 2nd place car in GT2. That will now elevate Johannes van Overbeek, a Flying Lizard, up to 2nd.
Well,
Whoa.
That was on his own right there. That has nothing to do with Chris Dyson.
That's Tom Milner.
Milner has an accident on his own. Now, a lot of dirt came on the racetrack, as you see there.
But that's already
right
broken.
rear suspension failure. Look at the right rear. Now, was it? Here's a 20.
Oh, and there was contact between the Panos and the 20.
Absolutely was.
It's Dindo Capello who leads Emanuele Pirro, and then it's the 2 Penskes in P2. We crank it up to the finish now. On board, Marco Werner, chasing Dindo Capello. I should say Emanuele Pirro. My mistake. Final 2 turns, 13 and 14. And Audi, the R10, remains undefeated as the checkered flag flies here at St. Pete. They do it. McNish, Capello win the Acura Sports Car Challenge. Dave Mirage congratulates Alan McNish. And what started with a stop-go penalty ends in victory. And the Porsches come home. The Penske Porsches, a 1-2 finish. They have rebounded from Sebring like you wouldn't believe. Olivier Beretta will win GT1 for Corvette Racing. And guess what? Mika Salo, Jamie Mello have done it again. Back-to-back victories for Risi Competizione.
Dindo Capello, there are a lot of questions before today about whether the R10 could win on a street course against the lightweight LMP2 cars. You made it happen, mate. How about this race car?
Yeah, but I was so scared. I was so scared, and then because we were on medium tire old, and after the pace car, I promise you, I had no grip at all. It was like driving on ice.
Well, that was an amazing race here today. Sasha Masson, you came out on top. I'm not sure you know how, but talk us through those final few laps. It looked like Timo was putting the pressure on. You seem to be struggling for grip a little bit.
A little bit? I had no grip at all. I was like, I had a lot of pickup. I tried to clean my tires, but I had no chance. So I was just driving the way that I don't get passed by Timo. He was putting a lot of pressure. I have to talk to him about that.
Part of getting through this one and winning it, even though there weren't that many cars out there, was dodging the stuff on the racetrack. How difficult was it at the beginning?
Well, it was pretty tricky. I mean, there was a lot of stuff going on. People dive bombing you, trying to get by and looking for positions. And the P-car race was pretty intense, as well as the GT race.
For Mika Salo, in the end, I mean, this one was not easy either. A lot of traffic out there, a lot of incidents on the racetrack. Tell us about it.
Yeah, no, it was. We knew already from the beginning it's going to be a difficult race, and you can't hit anything to win well. And I think Thomas was. We were catching them a little bit, but I got blocked by one of these prototypes, and he slowed me down a lot. But I was catching him slowly, but I think Thomas had to push also hard, and he just made a mistake. And I hope he's fine. I could see from the car that he was hurt badly, but I hope he's not too bad and he can race next time against us again.